got to hear from somebody who's investing capital. Now we're going to hear from somebody that helps wind companies down. Please give me a round of applause for David Johnson from Resolution Financial Advisors.
Thank you. I'm going to speak loudly, so I don't like my. All right, wow. So here I am in Silicon Valley with founders and entrepreneurs and fundraisers and venture investors. These must be the most optimistic people on the planet. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is my job to bring you down. We are Resolution Financial Advisors. My partner, Molly, is right here. My partner, Jeff, is over here. Our fourth partner, Ryan, is not with us tonight. We have our intern, Bill Coons, right here, who I just learned is too young to know what the television show MASH was. And our senior advisor, Sudhir Agarwal, with whom I have been associated for 25 years. So thank you for coming. Asher just talked about the fact that only a few of his investments represented his outsized returns and everything else was essentially worthless. Everybody in this room knows that over 80% of venture investments have to be shut down. They don't return equity. They leave debt. It happens. It's part of the model. Our thesis is on the wall. When something bad happens, what do you do? When the equity sponsor says that next tranche of funding you were counting on, it's not coming in. Or when the bank calls the loan. Or when the investment banker has tried to sell the company and no buyer has been found, what do you do? There may be value, doesn't mean there's no value in the software or the product or the patent portfolio or the trademarks or the customer list or the other intellectual property. There may be value there. Doesn't mean it could last as a going concern, and that's what often happens. So how do you wind down in a responsible way? How does the board get done? The things the board cares about. They got to make sure the final payroll is paid. Accrued vacation is paid. The 401k plan needs to be wound down under ERISA law. You have to vacate your facility. That might be a biological laboratory. It might have Ebola virus. It might have human heads in the freezer. Let me tell you that story. Okay? The board of directors is responsible for a lot of things, and they aren't interested in most cases, and they aren't equipped in most cases to do the things that are necessary to have a soft landing. So how do you recover as much value as you can? Probably not for your investors, but certainly for your secured lender, probably for your unsecured creditors, your accounts payable, your landlords. There are people out there that are holding the bag, almost certainly. So how do you take care of those? How do you do your fiduciary duty to those creditors? How do you try to recover as much value as you can? How do you take care of the employees? How do you get all of the other things that need to be done to wind down a company properly and responsibly? That's all we do. We don't do turnaround work. We don't do restructuring work. I did that in a prior life. We don't act as interim CEOs, CROs, CFOs. We don't try to fix things. We come along after all that's been tried and there's nothing else to do. That's when we're brought in. We get called all the time. We tried to sell the company and it didn't sell. We thought we had more venture money coming in. It didn't come in. We're out of cash. What do? This is all we do. Of course, there's bankruptcy. People think, well, bankruptcy is the answer. Federal bankruptcy under Chapter 11 and Chapter 7 is almost never the right answer for the people with whom we do business. It is an option. It's there. It's not the way to recover value. We serve as wind-down trustees, insolvency trustees, foreclosure agents for venture lenders, liquidating trustees, receivers, anything that has to do with the winding down, the recovering of value, the handling of the creditors. And who's going to talk to the creditors? Somebody's got to reach out to them, tell them what's going on. Otherwise, what? They're going to sue somebody. They're going to complain to the board. They might get together and file an involuntary bankruptcy motion. That's a can of worms. So there are ways to do it responsibly, to put a wall between the board and the creditors. We stand in the way. The board gets to resign, by the way. None of this Delaware dissolution, you got to stick around for 3 years stuff. We step into the shoes and we take care of it all. And then the board and the investors and the equity holders and the venture guys can focus on the things that have the upside, knowing that all of the things they care about will be covered. That's what we do. That's all we do. And it costs so little, you can't believe it. So I would encourage you to explore those options. One of our mantras, and you'll see this on our website, and you'll see us on our LinkedIn feed where we publish a lot of educational content, is our hashtag Know Your Options. It doesn't cost you anything to talk to us and understand your options. We'll do a initial consultation. We'll take some diligence information. We'll do an evaluation. We'll get back to you and we'll say, you've got 3, 4 options. This is what we recommend. We almost never charge for that kind of thing. And if there's a way we can do business together, we'll do business together. So I'm losing some crowd here, so I'm going to keep this short. I've got decks of cards here, which match our thesis on the wall. Please take them. We do have a very good website. We have a very active LinkedIn feed. I would ask you to follow us and keep that in mind, because everybody, sooner or later, although they say, we never want to do business with you, I promise you, some of you will be calling me, if just to ask some questions. We have a surprising amount of repeat business. We do. We have some funds that have come back to us again and again. There are people that said, I hope I never talk to you again, and yet they come back. We have a very unique service. There aren't that many people that do what we do. We do it very well. We have very happy constituents. And so I want you to keep us in mind as you go through this world. And I appreciate your attention. Thank you, everybody. Certainly can take some questions if there are any. That's a really good question. It takes about 7 years, but it takes you about 30 days, right? We have a long tail. In the first 30, 60, 90 days, it's a very busy process. We want to monetize assets as quickly as possible while the technology is still ripe, while the people who invented it are still around and available, while there's someone that can explain to the buyers in liquidation what it is we're selling. So we want to do that very quickly. The administrative wind down aspect takes longer. We want to make sure the final tax returns get prepared and filed. We'll sign them and file them. We store the books and records for 7 years as custodian of records. We take care of the employees. We run a creditor claims process as in bankruptcy. All of that takes months. So we are on the hook for the long term, but the board is usually not involved. The investors are usually not involved. After the first couple of weeks, everything gets handed off to us. Other questions? All right. Well, we've lost a lot of people here, but that's okay. We got the message out. All right. Thank you again.